Nicole, thank you for joining me today.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Can you tell me a little bit about Jack?
Jack is, how old is Jack now? 15 months old, and he was diagnosed with GABRG2 and he was 4 months old. Basically had a pretty uneventful pregnancy, just had high BP, which is normal. I had that also with my first kiddo. And then when he was born, he was low tone, and we had no idea what that meant. And concerned, but they didn't seem too concerned at the hospital, more so just like spend time with the baby, and so didn't think too much of it. And then we got to postpartum, and a couple hours later, brother was coming to visit for the first time, and he had stopped breathing, and then was rushed to the NICU, spent 2 weeks in the NICU, and essentially was a mystery. Went home, totally everything was supposedly normal, and was just diagnosed with reflux and sleep apnea potentially, but didn't do the sleep study just yet. And then when he was 3 months old, the day before he turned 3 months old, he started having like 20 seizures a day. And he did have, when he was 2 months old, he had these arm jerking episodes, which we thought were reflex related, but found out from his pediatrician that he thought they were potentially from seizures, but would have to go see a neurologist for that. And ultimately they'd stopped for like 18 days, I think it was, before the 20 plus started happening. So then took him to Lurie Children's Hospital in Chicago, put him on an EEG, and pretty quickly he was diagnosed with epilepsy. And then he was a mystery there too, because he's seen a number of specialists, and nobody really understood what was going on. Like, he just had the low tone issues and the epilepsy. And then what else? You want me to go through the whole series?
No, I mean, that's great. Tell me about Jack outside of the diagnosis.
Yeah, he's I'd say very happy baby. Rarely cries unless he's pretty much tired, or previously when he was drinking a bottle, if he got hungry, he would cry. But super chill baby. Absolutely.
Well, I think he wants to be on the mic right now.
Yes,
I think.
And he talks like crazy. He was actually talking in the meeting upstairs, and we were like, oh my God, take us at all.
Yeah, well, that's beautiful. I mean, it sounds like it wasn't right away, but pretty quickly you were recognizing different patterns and stuff. The epilepsy diagnosis happened pretty quickly. Is that right?
Yeah.
They kind of understood what was going on.
Yeah.
When did the diagnosis now, is it GABRA1? Is that what it is?
GABA2.
GABA2?
Yep.
So when did that diagnosis start to come around?
That came around, so we had gone through the series of genetic testing. So first, when he was in the NICU, they did a testing called the FISH profile. And then the NICU doctor thought potentially he had Prader-Willi. So he was like pretty sure, but he was like, I don't know, we have to do this FISH profile. And that came back negative. And so we go 2 weeks, was it a month? When he was a month old, we went to the pediatrician for his like 2 week post NICU checkup, and they were like, oh, everything's normal. And him being my second kid, like, he wasn't really smiling yet. And my other kid smiled when he was 3 days old. And so I was just like, okay, it's a little concerning, and just not as like active. Like, he was pretty like stagnant in terms of like arm movements and leg movements. And my biggest concern when he turned 2 months old is that he would do tummy time, but he wouldn't lift up his head, and he would just kind of fall asleep. And I did have that a little bit with Elliot, but not as to the degree like where he was just like not doing anything during tummy time. And the pediatrician was just like, babies do weird things and no big deal at this point. But myself and his dad Devin were just like, something's just not feeling right, kind of thing. So, but everyone just kept saying it's normal, it's normal, it's normal.
Yeah, they don't want to be the bearer of bad news.
Yeah, and also we just didn't have any answers, And then when he was in for epilepsy at Lurie Children's when he was 3 months old, they started running the mitochondria testing for the series of genetic testings, and then ultimately ran the whole genome sequencing, and then that's when we got the diagnosis in April.
Gotcha. What do you think has been the biggest challenge since the diagnosis?
The biggest challenge? Well, you don't ever want to see your child in pain. So just, the seizures he was having when he was having 20 plus a day were tonic-clonic. So his arms would get really stiff and his face would turn red and like kind of like a pained look in his face. And he was gasping for air. He would desat to like the 40s sometimes. So just like we didn't have oxygen at home at that point. And so just like fear that something's going to happen and he's not going to come out of the seizure. And then just like, what does the future look like for him? Like, is he going to be able to walk and talk and all those things,
Right. If somebody is receiving that diagnosis today, what would you tell them?
Just take it day by day and enjoy like every smile that they have. Cause that's like what we hold on to. He smiles so much, and just, that when he does get seizures again, like when he turned a year old, which was in October, he started having seizures again. So we had to change his medicine. So just like you're always walking on eggshells. So just appreciate the smiles, because when they do have that many seizures, they just don't smile.
As you've gone through this process, and we're here today at the CURE GABA A Conference, what would you define as the value of community?
Honestly, just having one shared experience to know like what to expect. I know with this condition, it's like it varies severity throughout the different types of GABA disorders, but just knowing that like you're not alone in the situation, and that there is people out there going to find some potential like cure or some sort of, you know, treatment that could potentially help in the future. Yeah,
that's amazing. Is there anything else you want to share with the world about this journey that you guys have been going through?
Just still live life. Like, don't make a GABA disorder like your life. Like, yes, you're always going to be dealing with it, like whether it be tube feedings or dealing with seizure, you know, getting the seizure activity down. But like, we took a trip to Jamaica in July. We're like, go to Jamaica, get the passport, like go travel, and, you know, try to have as much of a normal life as you can. Like, I know a lot of families, it's hard to travel because there's so much medical equipment to carry around and all that kind of stuff. But stay positive and do it so you can have those experiences.
That's amazing, Nicole. Thank you for your time.
Thank you.
Thank you.